Okay. My point about what I wanted to talk about today is monitoring from a why would we ever spend time and effort on this idea, right? Why would we go buy a system or design a feature of our software, of our IT systems or our software to make it monitor, to do monitoring of any kind? And the thing I wanted to point out at first is you already do monitor stuff with or without tools, because stuff runs in production. Production's this mysterious beast at every company. That's the stuff you have to be careful with because users are there, but they're actually in all the other ones. You just don't treat it the same, right? But in production, or when users are using things, sometimes you want to look at what they're using because you want to make sure something, right? Like what sorts of things would we want to make sure about our computers when our users are using them? That they're up and running, yes. Available, we call that availability, right? What else? That they're fast enough, that they're serving, that they have quality, they're operating the way those users are expecting. And we're looking at different things than the users are, right? So on all these diagrams, the yellow ones are the techies and the blue ones are the people who are gonna be upset if it's not, right? So sometimes we go look to say, let me make sure that the system's right, you know? And then sometimes someone asks us something about it. Why is it slow? Is the internet's down. The whole internet is down. No, right? But they ask us, our systems that we help them with, oh, well, then we stop what we're doing and we go look at it, right? Right? So that's a chain of information, right? They want to know something that they ask us, and we do this little translation, right? Between the internet's down and why can't they get to the SharePoint site that they go to every morning at 9:30, right? And where are they coming from? Oh, they're at home and they're not on the VPN. Like, we break it down to an actual technical understanding of what matters. And this whole presentation, what I wanted to get across is what matters, right? Because what matters is that person can't do what they wanted to do at a certain time. Or they can get to something, but it's not what it should be at a certain time. Data's wrong. It's too slow, right? There's practical, objective, measurable information that we need to get to at the right times to make our systems good, right? So this question came to us probably because an expectation was unmet, right? That blue guys expected something and then came to us because the computer wasn't doing it, right? That's the valuable part. Like, what did that person expect? And either we need to fix what they expected or we need to fix what happened, one or the other, right? But first we got to figure out what happened, because we only know what they expected wasn't met, right? So there's a go look at our systems ability that we have. We can SSH to the Bastion host and then hook up to the backend web server and open up the Nginx logs and see why the 404s happened. They can't do that, right? But that's a lot of work. And it takes a lot of understanding in our heads of what the system does, right? Well, sometimes we finally realize what it is that they want to go look at, and when it's like this, don't worry about it, just wait a little while, right? So we give them a way to check themselves. At least the thing that they ask us all the time, right? And then, then they'll stop coming to my desk, that kind of a question. But really, it's more like, sometimes when your expectation wasn't met, your expectation was wrong. Go look at this first, and then call me, right? And that's because what we're trying to do is help them be able to perceive about our system relevant information to their job, because there's this matching up of what we have time to build for them and what they need to do, and we're still working on it, but for now, we're at this point, and it's okay. Or it's not okay, call me, one or the other, right? So this idea of go find out myself if I'm not a technical person, if the system's behavior I should be worried about it, right? Or not, right? And that's the status pages on all those websites you go to. Something's not working, you go to status.twitter.com, it says it's down, we're working on it. Okay, fine, right? So then sometimes systems are made up of other systems, and this is the thing in IT, right? Because our system uses other systems. We call this service composition, right? So sometimes to give that person the answer they need, we got to go check another system, and that's the same thing as us checking a system, right? And so for systems to check systems, we need a way for the checks to happen that computers can use instead of people. Call them health checks, call them instrumentation, call them SNMP, all these technologies we've been using for years do that. They expose information about system health in a way that systems can reuse it to tell other systems about system health, right? We're passing relevant information, which takes humans to say what's relevant, which is you guys and me, right? Defining what's relevant about system health is our job, because otherwise we can't answer these questions without SSHing through the Bastion host to the Nginx logs, right? We don't want to do that. So the relevant, what I wanted to get to here is we can ask questions, and then those computers can ask more questions, and ad infinitum, and we can get emergent overall system health out of little bitty component health, right? By handing the football down, right? And once we can do that, the systems can let us know ahead of time about stuff we're worried about. That's called alerting, monitoring and alerting, right? Sometimes we don't want to wait for everybody to call the help desk. We're just going to put over the loudspeaker, email's down for 20 minutes. We're going to bring it back, don't worry, right? The alerting part is letting people know proactively so they can modify their behavior instead of waiting for them to discover a system problem. And just doing that increases system reliability, because reliability means people can trust your system. It doesn't mean your system is up all the time. For your system to be trustworthy, warning people that you're down makes you reliable, right? So alerting is the opposite direction of monitoring. It's almost the same job, but we just send the information from the other side. It's almost the same code, right? And if you can do that from here, you could only send it to the person who cares. And that person can tell what to do about it, instead of broadcasting it to everybody, which is what this is. This is what we normally get with monitoring systems, which is we all solve this problem in our own little spot and only solve it a little bit. And what we end up with is lots of information flying around that nobody looks at and nobody understands. Sometimes they get useful stuff, so they don't want to turn it off. I call that cacophony. So cacophony is not monitoring and not useful, and you shut it off, turn it up, don't do it. If you're using this, the best answer is shut it all back down and wait for the questions to come in, because the questions will tell you what's important. And you can build up from there, and it's easier than building down from here. If you have a monitoring mess right now, I'm telling you, your best option is to flip the switch off and don't do any alerting anymore and start over with questions that come in. And let people know you're doing it. So what I wanted to finish with, it's a lightning talk. I can't do everything. I'm not going to tell you protocols. Is there's 2 features you want for your enterprise systems, and you can do this with the little scope that you're working on and the whole IT for your enterprise. It's useful at all levels. Is visibility is the idea that whatever our enterprise system is, all I mean by enterprise is wherever we draw the boundaries. This enterprise, right? It's not a big word. Information, not data. Useful, relevant information that I care about it gets to me from the system. That's the quality we want at the end. And observability is that I'm able to go look at what I care about easily, whoever I am, developer or user, right? And if you use that to guide both the addition of features and the removal of features from your monitoring and alerting systems, you end up with a system that you know what's going on. This gives you a good portion of reliability. And I think Lightning doesn't have time for much more than that. How'd I do? Time? Question time? I can do a question.
We all know what a cacophony state is. They already have goals that are thrown on the folder. They'll never look at anything like this.
See, spam filter, right?
It's getting spammed by emails, or you having a Slack channel that no one ever looks at.
Then you make a new Slack channel where you actually talk. Yeah. All right, thank you.